Welcome to the Metal Awards 2021. I'm your host Questy, and this is a celebration of all things metal. We're going to be going over the best albums from each genre, and I'm not going to be doing it alone. So forget about the Spider-Verse, because we have the Metal YouTube-verse. It doesn't quite roll off the tongue. Now I've gathered a number of great channels and close friends to give you what they think is the best album from a particular genre. We've got multiple people here from Metal Trenches, Metal Meltdown, Mad Mike, and many, many more. So hopefully you find something you enjoy. So sit back, grab yourself a beer, and let's talk metal with my favourite genre, black metal, with the boys from Forgemaster Metal Reviews. Take it away.
What's up, guys? We are Forgemaster Metal Reviews. Thanks a ton to Questy for having us on his show. He is a massive piece of the success of this YouTube metal community, and it's really been fantastic to be a part of these collab videos, so thanks much, dude.
Yeah, seriously, give his channel a follow if you have not yet, and if you love metal reviews, interviews, and reactions from metal musicians and producers like us, check us out, give us a follow too. Let's get to our picks.
So we wanted to bring up some of the black metal albums that we enjoyed but didn't quite make our top list, as we already did our best black metal albums of 2021. First up on my list, No Living Witness, with their release of Cosmic Simulacra. Their sophomore album was an indie release that was featured on one of my favorites of July. There are a ton of unexpected black metal surprises on this record, as the band pulls inspiration from a multitude of subgenres. No Living Witness has refined their sound to a T, showcasing highly talented musicianship and outstanding songwriting that doesn't overstay its welcome. Despite the band name sounding like a Hot Topic nail polish color, this Washington-based band has delivered a serious black metal album for 2021 that should not be overlooked. 4.6 out of 5 Cosmic Deities.
Aquarius, Bellum 1, released December 3rd, 2021. This album has all kinds of hype for me because of the completely mesmerizing and gorgeous black metal release of the band in 2011, Griseus. You guys really have no idea how important that album was to me for unlocking what you can do with black metal. And a decade later, I'm not surprised given how intricate this music is for a one-man effort, yes, one person, Griseus is still that important to me. So where does Bellum fall on that scale of high expectations? Definitely not flat. It was masterfully composed, but there's something about it that doesn't quite nail the magic of the completely enveloped gorgeousness of Griseus. Still, it is a overwhelmingly strong and emotional effort that has a ton of amazing musicianship, and it absolutely deserves your attention if you haven't checked it out yet. It's still a special record that will be tough to top by other masters in the subgenre. Definitely check it out. 4.2 out of 5, Wooded Hollows.
Next on my list is a February release that went largely unnoticed by us until very recently. Astrue is a Romanian band that came out with their sophomore album, Obarse. This Romanian word basically stands for origin story, and the album certainly feels like it is portraying that. This is an album that would pair very well with another one of the great black metal records of 2021, Rotten Garden. There are a lot of folk elements in here for all you neo-folk fans. What makes this album stand out, however, are its more Middle Eastern folk influences versus Grima's more European folk influences. Middle Eastern melodies, instruments, and song structures have always felt just so archaic to me, as if King Gilgamesh himself is reaching through time to point us to ancient wisdom. Because of these unique influences, Obarse stands out on its own. This is a great sophomore release, and this band is really finding their own voice. 4.5 out of 5 Ancient Libraries. Be sure to check this one out if you haven't.
Nightcrown, Hadenfard, released July 9th, 2021. Following their 2020 studio debut, Impious Vium, this killer Swedish band consists of former and current members of Dark Funeral, Night Rage, and Cypher System, all phenomenal bands. Although this album didn't make my best of 2021 list, it is still fantastic and deserves a recognition for potential album of the year for black metal. There are some interesting composition choices on the record, especially with the atmospherics that run throughout each track and throughout the record itself. These quick melodic and moody breaks give the listener a chance to breathe and let those heavy parts hit and devastate even more. Hadenfard was a killer listen, and it's easily just as good as their first studio release. This continued level of quality shows that Nightcrown are one of the most exciting and impressive black metal bands at the moment. Noble Demon, the record company, know how to pick a man. This album slays, and it's easily one of the best black metal albums of the year. 4.3 out of 5 Cloaked Figures.
The Lion's Daughter put out Skin Show back in April on Season of Mist, and we gotta say, this is a band that you gotta pay attention to if you want to hear unique blackened sludge metal that really stands on its own. We've talked about this record quite a bit here, and it's one of the stories that we love to share. And the background of the record is that it was originally designed to be a retrowave and pop album. Somewhere along the line, shit got very dark, and the band put together Skin Show. While there are still undercurrents of the retrowave, post-punk sort of influences, the band cleverly fuses highly dissonant and evil sounds as if Joy Division went on a killing spree. It's tough to tell if this sort of sound can be replicated moving forward, but Skin Show definitely stands on its own category, and this really is a genre-defining piece in the post-black metal subgenre. 4.6 out of 5 Cultists Dressed in White. Don't sleep on this one if you're a post-black metal fan.
Ethereal Shroud, Trisagion, released December 10th, 2021. I typically shy away from albums that are over an hour long, for good reason, but when a record hits as hard as this one does, it is really hard not to get excited, to brave the cold wastelands of the world with your headphones on, and get lost. I missed this record just before we did our Best of 2021 list, otherwise it absolutely would have made that list, but this album is something really special, man. If there's one trope that I'd say is nailed on this record, it's the stunningly gorgeous tremolo picking that you could just get lost in for hours. The production is lo-fi in all of the best ways, not sacrificing quality for the sake of it, but to enhance that cold, introspective mood of the gorgeous music within the album. If you missed this record in 2021, get back on it immediately. This album is black metal perfection. It gets a perfect score from me, 5 out of 5 Frozen Wildernesses.
And last for you today on my list is Texas-based Creedsgrav with their independent release, The Sundering. This record got put on my best of August in 2021 for a damn good reason. It's not hard to believe that this band has been around for close to 20 years because they sound very locked in and focused. I really consider this album to be one of the standout melodic death metal albums that came out in 2021. The band puts a fantastic blackened spin on it that really helps it to bring it up to a level that's not really rivaled in the melodic death / blackened category. I'm going to give The Sundering 4.6 out of 5 burning Texas cities. I got to make note here that as a lover of history, this band tells a true story about Texas in the early 1900s. We love it when bands take the time to tell their local stories. Keep doing what you're doing, lads.
Ooh, excellent choice. I love Ethereal Shroud. That is probably one of my favorites of the year. And again, like them, it came out at the end of the year, like December, late December, so I couldn't quite put it on my list. But if I did, it would be bloody high. It'd be bloody high. I love that album. And the previous effort as well. Absolutely stunning. Great selection of albums from Forgemaster. Amazing channels. Go check them out. All the YouTubers will be down in the description below for you to check out. But without further ado, let's get on with the next one. Let's get more brutal for some death metal and the Metal Meltdown.
Good morning, metalheads of the internet. My name is Robert Walton. I am the host of the Metal Meltdown, and today I am here to tell you what I think is the best death metal album of 2021. This was a legitimately difficult decision to make because, quite frankly, 2021 was filled to the brim with absolutely stellar shit. There were so many absolutely delicious, sweet, savory, spicy, and crunchy death metal tunes from across the death metal spectrum. From the realms of Death Doom, you had great records from Worm and Dream Unending. From the realms of blackened death metal, you had great records from Swamp Beast and Woad. From the realms of, like, technical and progressive death metal, you had tons of great shit from Archspire, First Fragment, Rivers of Nile, Ophidian Eye, Obscura, Sepetus, and so many more. And even long-running legendary commercial juggernauts like Carcass, At the Gates, and Cannibal Corpse managed to put out some of their best material in a long time this past year. But with all due respect to all of these bands, there can only be one winner, one champion, one victor, one Olympic gold medal to hand out. The rest of these bands, unfortunately, they're getting silver and bronze. My pick for Best Death Metal Album of 2021 is none other than Imperative Imperceptible Impulse, the sophomore studio album from Italian technical and avant-garde death metal band Ad Nauseam. This, my friends, is truly an ungodly spectacle. From start to finish, this album batters the mind with some of the most complex and unorthodox and chaotic and schizophrenic production and instrumentation and songwriting I've ever heard. It is unpredictable, it is dense, it is dark, it is heavy, mentally taxing and physically challenging consistently throughout its runtime. Similarly to a slew of iconic works from the likes of Portal, Voivod, and Gorguts, there's a lot about this album that in theory should not work. To the point where I totally understand if anybody watching this video decides to dismiss this album as a gigantic slog of non-stop avant-garde wankery, as pretentious dribble and noise. Because, well, it kind of is from a certain perspective. I don't think it would be unfair at all to suggest that, at the very least, this is a somewhat confusing and overwhelming album. But there is a certain beauty and majesty to the chaos, to the darkness, to the absurdity of this album that is utterly impossible for me to turn away from. Every time I return to this album, I find myself peeling back layer after layer and in turn learning more and more about it, being further immersed in its universe as a result, learning more about the 20th century classical influences, learning more about the bizarre and totally unique guitar tunings and time signatures and bizarre rhythmic passages that Ad Nauseam created specifically for this album. The way that everything has been so meticulously arranged and so passionately performed is nothing short of incredible. And the way that it's all been mixed, mastered, presented, and produced is true sonic perfection. This isn't just a great death metal record. It isn't just the best death metal record of 2021. It is one of the most unique and ambitious death metal records I've heard in a long time. This takes everything that Gorguts used to do so well in the late 90s and early 2000s and elevates it to the next possible level. Imperative Imperceptible Impulse, unlike records we've mentioned from the aforementioned Carcass, At the Gates, and Cannibal Corpse, may not be for everyone. It may disgust you, confuse you, or bore you, but for the people that truly love bizarre, experimental, fucked up music, it really does not get any better than this. Anybody daring to perform avant-garde and technical death metal going forward should pay very fucking close attention to Ad Nauseam. Plain and fucking simple. That's all from me. Thank you, Quest for Metal, for allowing me to do this, to be a part of this video. Now on to whoever the fuck is next. I don't know. I'm gonna be finding out roughly the same way you will by watching the video. So let's do it. Let's watch it. Booyah!
Ad Nauseam, Can't complain, it was in my top end of the year list as well. Such a cavernous, dark record. Very swirling, very just dissonant and in your face, and it takes a long time to get into, but once it clicks, oh boy, it's glorious, and it's easily one of my favourite death metal albums of the year. Probably my favourite. Between that and Cannibal Corpse, it's neck and neck, but I think Ad Nauseam might take the biscuit. I love it, so great job there. Now let's move on to the supreme meme master himself, Mad Mike, and oh god, I dread to think. Let's go.
Fuck's sakes. Oh, fuck. What time is it? Oh, fuck. Fuck. Stupid fucking shit. Oh, hey, Oscar, fuck you. Alright, what time is this? Fucking... It's 10:40. Oh, fuck, I've been fucking sleeping for only 2 fucking hours. Jesus fucking Christ. I don't know what the fuck I gotta do. Okay, what I gotta fucking do? Why did I fucking wake up this fucking early? Oh shit, that fucking crap for quest.
Hey fucks, Mad Mike here, and about like a week ago, Quest for Trenchmaster Meltdown got a hold of me and told me he wanted me to be part of his end of the year video, right? He said he wanted me to talk about thrash metal. The albums that came out this year that were thrash metal, right? I told him right then and there that there was only one thrash metal album I listened to, and the only one I really liked. And like he said, hey, it's fine, go for it. So right now I'm here talking to you about the best thrash metal albums of 2021. There are really none, because like fucking thrash metal hasn't been good in 30 fucking years. So yeah. So cheers to like the fucking good old days of thrash metal. One of my favorite thrash metal albums from this year is Psycho Sinner with Fucking the Fire. Classic thrash metal album. Another one that I like, no, I didn't fucking like this one. It was Exodus with Welcome to the Depends. Just fucking standard boomer fucking thrash crap. There's one thrash metal album that I liked, but it's not this one. It's Exitivum by Pestilence. That's not even a thrash album. I just fucking hate it so much because it's not spacey. Another thrash album I liked, I didn't even like this. It's Limp Bizkit with Still Sucks. The fucking great new thrash. I don't fucking know. The one thrash album that I do like, it is Kill Grid by Enforced. Now, I haven't really heard much Enslaved lately, but they are a fucking legendary band, and Kill Grid is a fucking awesome fucking thrash album. Fucking love every single fucking minute of it. Malignance takes you right back to the fucking 80s. It kicks you all the way in the fucking ass and just fucking makes you bang your fucking head like this and you fucking throw up the fucking horns, and it's just fucking kick-ass. So yeah, that's my favorite thrash album of the year. It's fucking Kill Grid by Enslaved. Or Enforced. Who gives a shit? So thank you, Trench for Metal. No, Quest, fucking... What's your fucking name? Forge for Questy. Yeah, that's your fucking name. Thank you so much for having me on here. You kick ass. You all kick ass. Thank you. Fuck you. Bye.
Damn it! I really thought Psycho Sinner would grab that one. But alas, it went to Kill Grid, which is an amazing album. Very in your face, very thrashy, very just headbangy, that's the word, right? And if your neck isn't snapped after listening to this, I don't know what to tell you. You know, I don't know what to tell you, because this is just one of the best thrash albums of the year. My personal favourite would be Cryptosis by Onyx Swarm. Love that one. There's quite a few. Exodus is one I kind of enjoyed, but I think Cryptosis and Kill Grid, both amazing. And now for something completely different, let's move over to Metalcore with Skeletor himself, the Metal Trenches.
What's up, metal and heavy music fans? It's Flight of Icarus from MetalTrenches.com. Thank you for having me here on your channel, and it is my task to give you the best metalcore album of 2021. Now, I was looking at my metalcore list from this year, and I decided that I actually wasn't going to share the number one metalcore pick because there was a different album on here that I thought would appeal particularly to Quest for Metal's audience. And that is easily Zao with The Crimson Corridor. For one, this is barely even a metalcore album, despite the fact that these guys are forerunners of the genre. A lot of people are less familiar with Zao, but they were right there in the mid to late 90s, starting things up with the likes of Converge and Earth Crisis. They were seriously foundational to the genre and have a really impressive discography in which every album is a little bit different from the last, and in that respect, The Crimson Corridor is no different. To somebody without context, you might even call this thing a doom metal album. There's a lot of slow, sludgy, trudging passages that are extremely depressive in nature. The atmosphere is extremely dark, on par with the more sort of black metal albums out there this year. The concept has to do with introspection into the darkest parts of our mind, and the music absolutely matches that. But between the doomy slogs, we also have their usual penchant for mathier, more technical, fast arrangements that keep the pacing flowing in a really nice way. So really, from the musicianship to the concept to the performances, there's a lot to enjoy here. And a lot to respect as well, even if you normally absolutely can't stand the bands in this genre. So whether you like metalcore or not, I highly recommend you check out this album, and if you enjoy it, you should check out the rest of their discography. Come subscribe to my channel to hear my thoughts on all of their albums, as well as the rest of the top 10 metalcore albums of 2021.
As someone who doesn't like metalcore that much, I have to agree that album was actually pretty entertaining. My personal favourites, probably because I'm a mainstream metalcore bitch. I like Trivium in the Court of the Dragon. I love that album. It's fantastic. It's one of the best Trivium albums they've done. Every song's fantastic. And I also love Ice Nine Kills. I know a lot of people don't like that, say it's too cheesy, but I actually quite enjoy the cheese factor on that. So those would be my two picks for metalcore. Now, let's move on to something progressive. I'm going to go to prog metal with Perigene's reviews. Let's go.
Hey, I'm Pair of Jeans Reviews, and Questy has granted me the honor of presenting the best progressive metal albums of 2021. I am a channel kind of just like Questy's, but a lot smaller, where I just review albums and rank records and do stuff whatever I want that involves metal and rock and any other thing. So I love progressive metal. There's quite a few records that came out this year, so I have a decent amount of honorable mentions. Let's talk about the best progressive metal albums of the year. So the first honorable mention I want to talk about is the album by Bulb, who, if you don't know, is Misha Mansour from Periphery. And he released a solo album called Moderately Fast, Adequately Furious. And it's really good. It surprised me a lot because I love Periphery, and I was kind of expecting just like a not as good Periphery record from it because Misha's like all that Periphery is. But what you get is a really good instrumental record with some really cool themes and different textures and cool ideas that run throughout it and have different kinds of progressive ideas, whether it's djent, more like classic 80s progressive metal kind of thing, or just experimental electronic stuff. So definitely now we're checking out that. I think I'm the only person I talked about this record. So yeah, definitely check out Moderately Fast, Adequately Furious. My next honorable mention, I don't really know if it counts technically as a progressive metal record. It might be something else, but I think it's a very progressive album, and that is Kei Onashi's latest record with Dear Lemonhouse, You Ruined Me, Senior Year, or whatever it's called. Definitely listen to this record. It's kind of a little bit more in that like math metal, mathcore kind of genre, but there's so many progressive things going on in this record, whether it's the experimental song structures, the different time signatures, different mood feels and everything. It's another album that I'm pretty sure like me and Feiner were the only two channels that talked about this record, and it's just a really artistic album, as heavy as it is, as beautiful as it is, as experimental it is. It all comes together in this really beautiful, emotive piece of music that, as someone that was never really a Kei Onashi fan before now, when I listened to this record, I was like, okay, I get what they're doing here. All the pieces kind of come together on Dear Lemonhouse, You Ruined Me. So definitely check that one out as well. My next honorable mention is a classic band, and that is Dream Theater with a View from the Top of the World. It's Dream Theater, being Dream Theater. What else could you ask for? I think it just kind of falls right in the middle of their discography in terms of ranking and everything. There's some great songs, there's some songs that kind of skip, but as a whole, if you're a fan of Dream Theater, you're gonna like this record, so there's really no point in not listening to it if you don't like Dream Theater. Up next, we have Gojira with Fortitude. This is another band that everyone says is a progressive metal band, but ever since, like, after L'Enfant Sauvage, I think they're much more of just, like, a cool metal band rather than a progressive metal band, but I'm going to include it anyway just because people like to talk about Gojira as a progressive metal band, and this is a banger of a record. It kind of does, I'd say it's a little bit of a heavier version of Magma, which is cool. You know, songs like Born for One Thing, which I think is one of the band's best songs, especially in this more modern era of their sound. Amazonia, Another World, I remember when they released the music video for that song, that was a great one. There's some weirder songs in here, like The Chant, which I still can't really get behind and everything, but I guess you could say the inclusion of that song is what makes it a progressive metal record, because there's really nothing like it out there. So this album was a huge success, one of the biggest albums of the year, and yeah, definitely check it out. One more honorable mention before we get to the best progressive metal album of the year, and that is Rivers of Nile with The Work. This is a fucking fantastic record. This record almost made it into my top 10 video. Absolutely loved it. It's such a different record than Where Owls Know My Name, and I think that's kind of why I like it so much, because they could have easily just phoned it in and did that album all over again, but they made a much more thematic, dramatic, emotional, and just powerful record. I would say this record is. There's so many different themes. At times it reminds me of Devin Townsend's record Deconstruction, which is the different like elements and the hugeness, the grandness, you could say, of the record. Just a really great motivational album, and really shows how amazing of musicians this band is. And again, they're like a newer band that's up and coming, so like for them to be releasing two like masterpieces in a row is really impressive. I'm really excited to see where Rivers of Nile goes after this. So yeah, my last honorable mention, The Work by Rivers of Nile. And the best progressive metal album of 2021 is also the best album of 2021, and that is Colors 2 by Between the Buried and Me. What a fucking masterpiece of a record. This album is absolutely perfect in every way possible. Whether it's from the callbacks to their previous music, where there's stuff from like Ants of the Sky or, you know, Foamborn and stuff, all the callbacks are just like nostalgia worthy, and I think they like did a great job of pushing the boundaries of their sound within this record, which isn't really something they needed to do. They're, you know, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, modern progressive metal bands, but they're still finding ways to just push their sound forward, and I think they're one of the only bands that could do that, because in my review of the record, I talked about how, like, if Metallica made Master of Puppets 2 and started bringing back riffs that were on Master of Puppets and reworking them, it wouldn't really work. I don't think Metallica would be able to pull that off. Between the Buried and Me pulls it off effortlessly. I think the perfect example is in Human as Hell, the intro to that song. It's just like an alternate universe White Walls, and I think that's really cool and creative. This is just by far their most fun, most creative, most experimental record, and it does a perfect job of honoring what came before it as well as pushing their boundaries forward. So #1 progressive metal album of the year, and the best album of the year, and like the best record in like 5 years is Colors 2. I want to thank Questy for including me in this video. I love progressive metal. I'm excited to see what everyone else's lists are by the time this gets uploaded. So yeah, thank you, Questy. Check out my channel, Pair of Jeans Reviews. Thanks, bye.
Couldn't have put it better myself. Love Colors 2 by Between the Buried and Me. I always thought Dream Theater's one was going to make my list, but I'm not too big a fan of the new one, to be honest. But Colors 2, one of the best sequels of all time, and easily, I'm going to say, easily the best prog album of the year. So, great choice. Now let's finish things off nice and slow with Jamie Horsley with some doom metal.
Thanks Quest for Metal, and now it is time for the best doom metal albums, an award for the best doom metal album of 2021. We had a really good year of doom. Now, doom really accelerated in strength throughout the second half of the year. So there were just so many great releases. I also did a top 30 doom metal albums video, my best doom metal albums, but someone gets the prize today. It is the awards for the best doom metal albums of 2021. The nominees are Idvadni, The Pale Light of Fireflies, Swallow the Sun, Moonflowers, and Chemist Deceiver. All fantastic albums, all fantastic releases, but there can only be one. And my imaginary audience voted for Idvadni, the Pale Light of Fireflies. What can I say about this album? An incredible album overall. Great melodic death doom, incorporating beautiful shimmering guitars along with fantastic drumming. The vocals are incredible. I love the clean vocals mixed with the harsh and aggressive vocals. The vocals are very just dominant in tone. This does remind me at times like Swallow the Sun, especially the beautiful melodies that do get stuck in your head. Hello, fucking shadows. Shadows into the sky. Oh, so damn good. Thank you so much for supporting Quest for Metal. He deserves to get to 10,000 subscribers. But yeah, well done, Idvadni, getting the best metal album, best doom metal album of 2021. Back to you, shitface.
Trust the cocknoble himself to bring an actual award out. Legend. Yep, I really enjoy that album as well. My personal favourite would go to Hooded Menace, the Tritonus Bell. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. It's just mixing heavy metal and death doom into a perfect amalgamation, and I love it. So, there we have it. That's most of the genres, but there's one left that I'm going to mention. I'm going to do my own segment. I'm going to do it on power metal. Of course, saving power metal for Questy. Got to. And there's only one contender. Come on. It's Halloween. It's as soon as Halloween released the album, it's over. Unless Blind Guardian or like another big ass band releases an album as magnificent as this, it's pretty much over. The three vocalists back, working in tandem, amazing solos, really theatrical. I mean, the music video as well, as corny as it is, just is beautiful. It's beautiful. Everyone working together. It's classic Halloween like you know and love it. Most people, a lot of long-term Halloween fans are saying this is just as good as Keepers of the Seven Keys Part 1 and 2, and I can kind of agree. It is really up there for me. I still like The Dark Ride, bit more, but this new one, easily the best power metal of the year. But that's not to take away from some of the others, because Orden Ogan, amazing power metal with Final Days, and Numenor, mixing of black and power, just great fantasy-esque power metal. So power metal's had a pretty good year, I'd say. Now before I go, I just want to thank everyone who joined in on this video. Metal Trenches, Pair of Jeans Reviews, Mad Mike of Metal, Jamie Horsley, the Metal Meltdown, and Forgemaster Metal Reviews. All the channels will be in the description below so you can check them out. All great people, and I couldn't have done this video without them, so go give them your love and support. But as always, this isn't just about us. We want to hear your guys' opinions, so pop down below what's the best album from each genre that we've mentioned today and some of the genres that we've left off. Who would you want to see in next year's edition? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? I mean, the dislike button's gone because YouTube's gone on a rampage recently, but, you know, just let me know. Let us know. So let us know down below, and we'll see you again on another Quest for Metal.